Hey, Diana, I'm so excited to have you today and have you share your amazing story about your business and how you really turned things around this last year. And just to kick us off, I'd love for you just to say who you are, what you do, how long you've been in business for everybody listening.
So I'm Diana Venditto, actually, and I own Eventi Floral and Events. We started out as a wedding planning company, and we're almost at 10 years. And 5 years ago, I added florals. I realized that I was overworked. Too many weekends were being occupied, and we figured out a way to do less weddings, just work harder that week. And I added florals. So I'm
Add florals to see more profit off of each job.
exactly, and work less weekends.
Yeah, I love that. So tell me, you're 10 years in, and I guess it was like year 9 last year. How were you feeling, and why were you like, okay, I got to figure this thing out?
Yeah. So probably I'm gonna take you back to year 7.
Okay.
I incredibly burnt out in that I was working ridiculous hours. So that's when we got okay, let's work smarter, right? Let's work harder for a week and then have a week off, basically. So then fast forward to year 9, I'm like, great. So I'm doing all of that and I have my nights back. I'm not sitting in bed emailing with my husband every night. And now I need to make money. Like now I need to pay off my personal loan, which we can talk about. I need to just start not being so in the red all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just feeling very, very dependent on my husband, and not in a way, not that he ever made me feel that way, but just for myself. Like, what am I doing all this hustle for?
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving up time for them, which is fine because I love what I do. But aside from my couples being happy with their experience, like, where's my actual payoff, right? And money isn't a motivator for me, but I got to the point where it needed to be.
Yeah, I think everybody hits this time in business where it's like, okay, this was fun.
Yeah.
I love getting to create, but to keep going, I feel like this is why I have a job. Like to keep going, I need to make money now. So you had 3 kids at the time and you weren't taking a paycheck yet.
Yeah, no, still not taking a paycheck, and I owed my husband and I $30,000.
Yeah, so I'm so thankful you're willing to share this story because money is one of those things that people don't always love to talk about. But your success is that once you started getting the fundamentals in place, you paid off that $30,000 loan in 9 months. So just tell us that story. Like, how did you get on track? And then we'll dig into like the exact steps you took. But
So I had hired, I had the same accountant for years, and she wasn't really helping me out. So we did a lot of research. We found a new one, and she was a little bit older, so she didn't quite understand what I did, but she was great in that she really wanted me to make money, but I don't know that she knew how to tell me how to do it. So of course I did Blueprint, and I learned a lot. But I think the biggest thing for me was, I looked at my husband and I said, I want to pay us back this year. Like that is my only goal. Like I didn't even do full on Blueprint at that point. Like I literally, and I've never like been a goal setter or anything. So it's probably why it's taken me 10 years to get to this point. But, I just looked at him and I said, I want to pay us back. I don't want that on my shoulders anymore. And he would never hold over my head. It wasn't him. It was all this self guilt issue. And so I just cracked down. So I was like, what am I going to do to make that happen? I keep seeing Shanna everywhere. Like, okay, I got to invest in myself. Like, this is what I've got to invest in. This has to be number one. And, like, I can't tell you how many workshops I've bought and not done. Like, there are no work. All of us do. This email of like workshop. Oh, this looks like great. Let me buy it. And then it just sits. But I was like, you know what? If I'm actually going to do this, I have to do this workshop. Like, I just believe in it. And I had actually met you at a retreat years ago, and so I knew that I liked you and that you weren't going to drive me crazy. How to do
that.
No, but true, So I just hunkered down, and I decided I wanted to do it in a year, and I didn't know how I was going to do that because I never had seen a profit of 30 grand. But I just worked the steps. So I did it in 9 months. Like it was just the best feeling in the entire world. Like
You are such a rock star. I want you to share like your aha moment when, yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just share that.
Great. So, a big part of this is understand where your money's going, right? So you're getting all this money and you figure that out, but where's it going? Like, okay, so I'm doing these huge weddings and I'm getting a pretty good paycheck, but where's it going? Why am I not seeing this money? So I sat down and, like a lot of us have the mentality of, oh, well, it's a tax write-off. Like, oh, I'm at Starbucks. I'm going to treat myself to a coffee, but it's a tax write-off. It's fine. Like, I don't even really know what that meant, to be completely honest with you. Um, side note, we're also landlords. So when we're renovating houses, like, oh, buy the paint. It's a write-off, you know? I've been saying this for years, not just with my business, but with like our personal stuff. So I sat down and I looked, and quite literally, my biggest aha moment was not Starbucks, because yes, I love coffee, but it wasn't, I didn't spend that much there. It was Chipotle. Like, I was spending like $6,000 at Chipotle. $6,000!
That's like $500 a month. I know. Isn't it amazing though? When you're like, this is your Chipotle moment. This is language we use now in the Blueprint model. I love it. I'm like, what's your Chipotle moment? I had one too when we left finance, and I've shared this story. Like, we looked at our spending. I was spending $500 a month on Starbucks. Like, I think it's so true, and this is the biggest for anybody listening, like, just knowing where your money's going and realizing, like, I think we use that language a lot, like, oh, it's a write-off, but that's still just saving you 30 cents on the dollar. Like, you're still spending that money. So
I'd rather take that $6,000, pay myself, and then take my husband and I on a great trip overseas. Like, I don't need Chipotle every day. I can pack a turkey sandwich.
yeah. I love that. And one of the questions we ask in the Blueprint model is like, if you were to, like, looking back at where you spent your money, is that where you want to be spending your money? And I think for you, it was like, no, you had this goal to pay off this loan, and it just took spending intentionally. So what would you say if you had to give somebody 3 steps to do what you did, or if they really want to pay off that, if they have a loan like you had, or want to pay themselves for the first time, like, for you, in your words, what were the 3 steps you took?
So once I understood where my money was coming from and where it was going, I sat down with, I have an assistant she has a credit card. Like, she can spend the money. Like, you know, she has access to the money. I sat down with her and I like laid it out for her. I was like, we eat too much Chipotle. Like, that queso side, like, no more. I just said, like, if you want to make more money, if I want to make money, we have to stop eating out. We have to stop treating ourselves. So that was number 1, just kind of laying it out. I mean, even if you don't have anyone on your team, it's having that conversation with yourself. Like, that was number 1. Like, let's cut out all the extras. So then the other thing that I tend to do really, really badly is I had an understanding. I actually went client by client, and I looked at all the things that I had gifted them that they didn't even know about necessarily. I would just say, oh, you know what? So-and-so's the photographer. We'll get a great shot for social media. Like, I'll just buy it. I'll just buy it. Like, the client will be happy. And when I looked at it, I was like, this is bananas. Like, no, I need to use the budget that I've agreed with my client, and that's the money we're going to use to create the images that we want. And if there's anything extra I think of, I'll pitch it to them. But so, you know, talk to your staff, talk to yourself, have a good understanding of, you know, what you want to spend money on. And number 2, like, don't gift things to people. Like, I mean, not to be mean, like, you can gift them things, but don't go overboard. There's no point. There's no benefit to that. And I guess the 3rd step for me, oh goodness, I just think I honestly had my goal like on my mirror every morning, and it was just like a constant reminder. You know, like, I know that's not a big step, but it was just constantly having it in your face what that reminder is. When I'm running around the kitchen trying to get something out, get out the door, and I'm like, I can just pick up lunch. No, I'm going to grab a silly granola bar. But, like, just having that true goal in the forefront of your mind all the time. Because when I did it in 9 months instead of 12, like, that feeling, I still get goosebumps when I talk about it. Like, it's just such a big deal. So
That's a huge deal. And I think you should think about that. I love all those steps, like just spending with intention and having a goal, the power of just those 2 steps alone. And I love that you brought up client gifts, because this is something I see a lot. Like, we're giving and giving, expecting our clients to be like, oh, thank you for showering me with gifts. But they don't have any other experience. They don't know that somebody else isn't going to do that. So I think that's wonderful. But thank you so much for sharing your Chipotle moment. And I am so 30,000 in 9 months is incredible, and I hope gives some people amazing hope if they're feeling kind of bogged down in their own debt. But just to end us, I would love for you to answer, what is the best thing that you have learned about money?
I have learned that money is liberating. It just knowing where it's coming from, where it's going, and just being so aware of it, it is the best feeling. I don't take any dollar that comes in my cash register for granted now, like, at all. I appreciate every single dollar.
Yeah, I love that. So proud of you. You're kicking butt. Thanks for sharing today. And I'm so excited to hear everybody else's Chipotle moments.